Today we're going to read Snow White and the Seven Aliens. Snow White dreamed of becoming a pop star. She wanted to be number one in the chart, just like the hero Hunk Hunk from Boy Song. Snow White had a beautiful voice. She was a great dancer too, and she could even write her own song. Only one thing stood in her way, her wicked stepmother. Once upon a time, Snow White's stepmother had been a famous pop star. She had been the mean queen, leader singer, in the wonderful Wicked Witches. But now her voice was croaky and she was no longer a star. She had become mad with jealousy of Snow White. "You will never be famous like me," she would hiss. "You look so ordinary. You don't even have a band, and besides, your nose is too small." Then the mean queen would storm out of the room, leaving poor Snow White to weep under the Boys Knock posters in her bedroom. Snow White's father was a kind little man. He liked doing jigsaw puzzles and making small plastic models. Although he loved his daughter, he was not strong enough to stand up his wife. The mean queen had a huge dressing room on top of the house, with dozens of mirrors and shelves of makeup, and if she was a great star. And sometimes she forced the poor husband to sit behind the dressing table mirror and tell her that she was still beautiful. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the cutest nose of all?" From behind the mirror, her terrified husband would reply, "Mean queen, you look like a treat with nose as perfect as a boiled sweet." Then Mean Queen would scream with laughter and march around the song, cricket her ancient songs, and remembering days the wonderful Wicked Witches had appeared on the Christmas edition of Top of the Pops. Now, Snow White often sat in the garden surrounded by little birds and bunny rabbits, singing quietly in her beautiful clear voice. When she looked down, the mean queen would almost choke with rage. Day by day, the mean queen could see that Snow White was growing into a very beautiful young woman with that tiny pink nose, and the mean queen hated her. Only the mirror brought her comfort. "Mirror, mirror, tell me truth. Is my nose as long as Didgeridoo? That girl's nose is microphonic. What are you feeling on this topic?" And the mirror would reply, "If you push me, I must admit, Snow White's nose is a distant fit, but your nose, oh queen, is really small. In fact, it's hardly there at all." And so it went on until the one terrible night, Snow White's father could stand the lies no longer. The mean queen demanded, "Mirror, mirror above the sink, tell me what you really think. It's time you start coming clean. Choose Snow White or me, your queen." In a tiny trembling voice, the mirror replied, "All right, I've really had enough. I'm fed up with the lies and stuff. You are president, old and sad, crunkly, wrinkly, really bad. Your nose is sort of long and hairy. Beside you, Snow White is a Christmas fairy." The mean queen leapt up to her feet. With a swimp of her bony hand, she set the make-up and the bottles of perfume crashing onto the floor. She seized her husband by the collar and lifted him off his feet. "Let Snow White out of my house," she snapped into the terrified face. "Make sure she never ever returns." The poor man crawled towards the door, but the mean queen had one more order, something so terrible that her husband quaked as a sandal. To prove that Snow White has really gone, bring me that tiny snubby nose on a crystal stick. And so Snow White's father lead his beautiful daughter far into the wild, dangerous city. With tears coming down his face, he brought her on all-day bus pass and kissed his sweet daughter goodbye. Of course, he could not bring himself to cut off that precious snubby nose. So he quickly modeled the flesh out of some pink plastics which he always carried in his pocket. This he brought back to the mean queen of a crooked stick. When the mean queen saw the little nose, she screamed with laughter all over again. Then she did something so ghostly that her husband felt quite ill. She took the plastic nose, dipped it on a mayonnaise, and ate it, served with a side salad and fresh flies. Mmm, she said, licking her lips. Tasty. Meanwhile, poor Snow White wandered down the city, lost and alone. It grew dark, and she started to feel afraid. Then, in the distance, she saw a dim green light between the buildings. Filled with hunger, she stumped towards it and found herself by clearing by a car park. In the front of her was a gleaming silver spacecraft. A little ladder led up to a door where a flashing neon sign said, "Switching Space Club." Under this was plain another small notice. This one read, "Clear Wanted. Apply with me." Too tired to feel afraid, Snow White pushed the bell. Quietly, the door slid open, and she stepped nervously inside. And so it was that Snow White began a new life as a cleaner in the swinging spaceship nightclub. The hours were long, the pay was poor, but at least some good bands from playing the music. Who knows, sighed Snow White. Perhaps I might even hear Hong Kong from Voice Knock one day. One evening, Snow White was told to prepare the dressing room for a special band who would be playing that night. In the scratch room, she found 7 identical chairs laid neatly on the 7 identical chairs. There's the 7 identical space helmets. I wonder who will be charging in here, she thought. Just then, she just heard the voice singing outside in the corridor. Hi ho, it's off to space we go. What an awful song, thought Snow White. I wonder who wrote this terrible line. The door opened, and in stepped the 7 of the most extraordinary creatures Snow White has ever seen. Hi, said the first stranger. We are the 7 aliens. We are booked from perform tonight. We are number 4,324 in the pop charts. You know, meet the band. Hi, I'm Scotty. Ho, I'm Spotty. Hi. He, I'm Dotty. Ho, I'm Snotty. He, I'm Potty. Ho, I'm Grotty. And what about you? Laughed Snow White, pointing at the very funny-looking alien who had spoken to her first. What is your name? He's Potty, shouted all the other aliens together. Well, giggled Snow White, I am very pleased to meet you. Now, if you like, I will polish your space helmet before you go on stage. While Snow White polished, she said, a sad and a beautiful song. The 7 aliens were intense. That was wonderful, growled Gertie. Then she had finished. Tell us your name. I am Snow White, said Snow White. Oh, Snow White, sniffled Gertie. The truth is we cannot sing for talking, and we only word we can think of it are hi-ho, hi-ho. If you would join our band, we would blast off the charts like a rocket into the space. And so it was that Snow White and the 7 aliens played at their very first gig at Blinka's Spaceship nightclub. Meanwhile at home, Snow White's father worked on his lost daughter until the jigsaw puzzle was soggy. The Mean Queen, on the other hand, was very moved. She went to admire herself into the magic mirror. Mirror, mirror, spill the beans. Am I now Queen of Queens? Now Snow White's nose is in my tummy. You must admit I look quite yummy. But to horror, the mirror replied, I don't want to shock you, rotten queen, but that nose was made of pristine. Snow White's nose is on her face. She was some blokes from outer space. The Mean Queen turned purple. She smashed to the mirror and found thousands of jogged pieces. Back at the Sweetneck Space Club nightclub, so Snow White and the 7 aliens had been a huge success. A record protector had heard them play and signed on the spot. Now Snow White's dream was coming true, and Christmas appeared. Her single Snow White alien rap crept higher and higher on the charts, eventually even overtaking Hong Kong and Boys Nog. Snow White and the 7 aliens were broke appear on the Christmas edition of Top of the Pops. Snow White was terribly nervous. She was sure that Mean Queen would do something if she spoiled her good fortune. The aliens made her promise to lock the dressing room door and not let anyone but them. But only one half an hour to go before Roxy, someone rattled the door and huddled, and the voice called, Snow White, the door's stuck. It's Hong Kong here to wish you luck. Snow White thought the voice sounded a little strange, but she had to see if it was real Hong Kong from Boys Not come to see her. She opened the door to a tiny creek. A versatile figure with blonde hair. It looked like Hong Kong, but sure there was something strange about his nose. So you're a pop star now, Snow White, but you will surely fill with fright. Your bands are weird, your song is crumbly, you freeze on stage like a plastic dummy. The world will watch you on TV, but you will never be as good as me. Ha 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 ha! As it was Mean Queen. When the aliens came to collect Snow White, as she found her completely frozen with stage fright, no matter how they tried to release her, she simply could not move her arms and legs, let alone dancing or swing. Indeed, they carried her like a statue out of the dressing room and laid her gently on the stage. It's no use, said Protty. We'll have to sing. Hi-ho, hi-ho. The programmer started. Fantabulous Christmas greeter pop fans, said the announcer. We've got a sensational season lineup for you, including the incredible new Dumpty, Snow White, and the 7 extremely strange aliens. We also had Hong Kong and Boys Nook, and later, Snow White was still unable to move. To the 7 aliens, it seemed like 100 years passed by. Then, at the back of the studio, someone began to push his way through the crowd. Let me through, he said. I'm qualified heartthrob. I simply must see her. It was Hong Kong. It's time it really was him. Snow White's heart began to flutter. Oh, Snow White, whispered Honk. Please sing for me. He bent towards Snow White. A big blonde curl fell across one eye. Gently, he kissed her lips. Snow White leapt to her feet. Okay, boys, let's groove, she shouted. Snow White and the 7 aliens leaped into the spotlight and began to play. Across the nation, every family threw down their Christmas crackers, have been grinning to the fantastic sound of the TV. Especially everybody except one person, high in the dark dressing room. The mean queen started into the shattered windows, mirrors, and muttered, Mirror, mirror, smashed to bits. Today I feel the pits. But her husband, driving in front of the TV, called up to her, That's funny, honey. I feel really perky. Come downstairs and have some turkey. If you're good, you'll never know. I might as get as that news too. On New Year's Eve, there were 7 special guests at the Honk Snow White's wedding. Their name was Scotty, Spotty, Dotty, Snotty, Potty, Gotty, and Botty. And they're all blasted up for a honeymoon in the stars. Hi ho, hi ho. That's the end of the video, and please subscribe to our channel. Bye!